Hey everyone, it's your pal Ian. I'm going to tell you what we got wrong on the 5th episode of the Teal Tinted Glasses podcast. So what did I get wrong? Because it's always me screwing up. So first thing I got wrong was in my thing about Edmonton, I said that they were going to get their fourth first round pick in 6 years, where what I actually meant, and I'm sure people got this, but what I meant was their fourth first overall pick in the last 6 years, whereas obviously they've had first round picks and other years other than the fourth. So that's the first thing I got wrong. The next thing I got wrong is that I said Guy Lafleur was a player turned coach that didn't do well, kind of like Gretzky did. And while there's a list of Hall of Fame players that definitely failed at coaching, Guy Lafleur is not one of them. Another quick name off the top of my head that would fit that category better would be Brian Trottier, who obviously won Stanley Cups with the New York Islanders, and then went on to coach the Rangers for 54 games and was pretty bad at it. So that's pretty much what we got wrong. This isn't really what we got wrong so much, but Wendell kind of made reference to a really accelerated timeline as far as the Vegas thing goes. Now, this is just kind of speculation to correct his speculation, but basically it's just, unless it's a big situation where a team would just definitely need to move, his timeline is too pushed up. At best, by the awards ceremony in Vegas, when he said that they would announce the team, at best, they will announce that the league is going to formally go through the expansion process. This is per Nick Kostanica of Yahoo Sports, who's a pretty good source when it comes to things along this nature. So what would happen next for Vegas is that if the ticket drive goes through, then the NHL will start doing the vetting, because from my understanding, from what's been reported, is Bill Foley hasn't actually been vetted by the league yet. So obviously that process is going to have to go through, which is an extensive process, and it's something that isn't going to be quick. So he still needs to be vetted. The Board of Governors won't just bring in the team. They're gonna start doing the paperwork up, and they'll do a feasibility of expansion, and there'll be a process for it. At best, you're probably looking at least, I would say, next season being 2016. 2017 is really optimistic. 2018 would probably be the most likely start for a team in Vegas. But you never know. These things do change. And again, maybe a team has to get relocated. But I think if it's going to be an expansion team, you're probably looking at 2 years. Because not only is there going to be that, but they're going to have to rework the scheduling and stuff. And I think 2017 is really, really optimistic. But we don't know. We don't know really anything. It's all speculation. But the speculation that I'm sharing with you is from more of a source other than Wendell's hopeful thinking, and he would admit that's exactly what it was. So that's being said, it was awesome to have Rocket Backhander on the show. We're going to be doing more interviews next week. Actually, it's going to be me and Wendell. We ran a little long this week, and that won't be a regular thing. We're pretty happy with about usually, cutting maybe an hour. 10 minutes is always kind of pushing it for us, and that's where it seems we line up. Our shows aren't going to be an hour and a half all the time. It just seems like every time we turn around, there's just more news, and then, we want to cover that news in a way that does justice, and obviously, hopefully when we talk for an hour and a half, we've, at least answered questions that maybe you, the listener, have. And I hope that we do. And if we don't, well then, you can email us, tealtintedglasses@gmail.com. So, as far as that goes, when the show goes over long, it's pretty much my fault. And in order to explain why it's my fault, I guess I should probably pull back the curtain a little bit and tell you how the life cycle of the show goes. So, Wednesday night we record the show, and then Thursday, either Wednesday night or Thursday morning, Wendell does all the editing and everything else. So that part's totally, that's the way it goes. Show gets released Thursday. We do a listening party Thursday, Friday, somewhere in there, and then pretty much after that happens, the weekend hits, I start writing the next show. Basically, what happens is I don't write the show, it's not scripted, but if as much as Wendell's the producer, I'm the writer of the show. What happens is that I take all the topics that we have and I look at the emails and I basically kind of set up the flow. I set up the framework. Nothing's really scripted. Everything that we do on the show is off the cuff. We don't have anything. We might have some points written down or something, but it's not like we're reading from a script. So I don't want to, when I say I'm the writer of the show, I don't want to come off as sounding like everything that we say is what I've written, because it's not true at all. All I do is I set the framework. I say, this is what we're talking about here, here, here. You know, we're going to do this email here. We'll do Ian Taku 101 on this. And then what I do is I give that to Wendell. Wendell looks it over. If he has anything that he wants to add or thinks that isn't important to the show, he'll give that feedback. And then eventually, between talking, I'll have basically a setup for the show coming up. And then basically what happens is usually if we have an interview, we try to do the interview on a not recording night. So if we record on Wednesday, we might do an interview segment on Monday or Tuesday. This just makes it because when we do record the show, we record it about 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern. So obviously if there's any hang-ups in the interview or whatever, I just need to get to bed at a decent hour still. So once we have that framework, you know, we take any feedback, we wait for any emails to come in, and I'll obviously reconfigure the show if we get any emails. And then basically we sit down on Wednesday night and we record, and then the cycle starts all over again. So that's basically how the podcast works behind the scenes. Wendell obviously does all the producing, I'm the writer, and that's basically it. So if a show is kind of out of whack or all over the place like show 4, it's probably my fault. Show 5 was really awesome, though. I thought the last show was really good. We've gotten nothing but great feedback from the last show, which is amazing because honestly I thought that I was going to get a lot of holy crap, this is way too long. But most people that listen to it didn't even notice the length for the most part. If you did, let me know. If you have any other feedback for us, let us know. Again, you can always figure out, you know, you can always talk to us, send us emails. If you have a Ian's Hockey 101, if you have a rule that you're unsure of and you want me to cover it, email us. tealtintedglasses@gmail.com. Don't forget, follow the Twitter has like no followers, and it hurts my feelings. At TTG Podcast. If you want to follow me personally, at Ian Blogshark, Wendell at Comic Not Geek. Coming up on RSCN, I'm hoping that I'm going to do something because I need to write something. If nothing else, I'm hoping to do round 2 of the playoff predictions as we approach round 2. So I'm going to start reaching out to people and see who's game for round 2. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the last show. I hope you enjoy the show coming up. Have a good night.